Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is kind of a special webinar. It's specifically on how the online renewals process works in BNI Connect. So it's part of our leadership team series of webinars. Yesterday we talked about how to edit your chapter web pages in BNI Connect. We're going to talk today about how to go through the online renewals process in BNI Connect. We also have coming up next week our member series of webinars. We're going to close out the year with how to complete your profile and the online referral process, as well as the connections and testimonials, member tools and reports, and then inviting and registered visitors. But today's topic, again, we're going to talk about the online renewals. Now, just a couple of housekeeping things before we officially get started. Firstly, this is, if you're listening to this today, December 15th, 2016, this is a live webinar. So that means that you can ask whatever questions you would like to. As we're going through the material today, the best way to do that is to just type your question in. I'll see it pop up on the screen, and I can answer it as we are going through the session today. If you are listening to this via recording, we do record all of our webinars. You can always send in a question to us here at support. You can always email us support@bniconnect.com or by clicking on submit a request on the support site by clicking the question mark in BNI Connect. As I mentioned, this is being recorded, so you'll be able to find them on youtube.com/BNI Connect Global or on our support site. Now, we do try to keep all these webinars to about 25 to 30 minutes. Keep it short and sweet and get the point across and let you guys get back to your very busy days. That said, if you do have questions, please don't be shy. Ask away. Ask anything you'd like to about this process, the online renewals, or about anything in BNI Connect. This is what I do all day, every day. I support BNI and BNI Connect, so I'm happy to answer the questions that you might have today while we have each other live on this webinar. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, this is not going to be all a PowerPoint. I'm going to actually show you some stuff in BNI Connect. I'm going to kind of go back and forth between. But again, this is the online renewal. So just to review the renewal process and how that works in BNI, typically it goes, the member completes a renewal application, right? And then that renewal application needs to be approved by the membership committee and signed off on for renewal. And then the payment is sent in and it's reconciled by the regional office. Now that process is exactly the same with the online renewals, except that instead of chasing around a piece of paper for a bunch of signatures, this can all be done online through BNI Connect. So let's take a look at what this looks like from a member perspective. So I'd like you to put your member hats on right now, and you're coming up for renewal in BNI Connect in your chapter, and you need to submit a renewal application. So you actually have 5 different opportunities to renew in BNI Connect. So the first of which is you will get an email reminder approximately 60 days before your renewal date saying, hey, you are up for renewal. Would you like to renew now? And there's a button in that email that says, yes, I would like to renew. You click that button, it'll take you right over to that renewal application. You can submit it and the process is now underway. Now the second way is that on the regional website, or many of the regional websites out there, there's a Renew Now button. All you got to do is click that Renew Now button. It'll ask you to log into BNI Connect and you'll be brought right to the application. The third way is that on the home screen, so once you've logged into BNI Connect, let's say you're going there to submit your weekly referrals or things like that, you will find a Renew Now link right on the home page. There's also a link on your main profile tab if you happen to be updating your profile in BNI Connect. And there's actually a fifth way that if your membership committee actually pre-approves you, you will get an email saying, hey, congratulations, you have been pre-approved for renewal. Would you like to renew now? So let me show you a couple of these different ways. This is a sample email that you might get if for that reminder, and you'll notice that there's a Renew Now link in the email in a couple of different places, so can't really miss it there. And here's a couple of examples of some regional websites out there that have a Renew Now button on their website. So you can see here, this is the BNI Minnesota. They happen to have a blue button along the left-hand side. Heartland has a red oval-shaped button, and Arizona happens to have a squared off button. But no matter what it looks like, it all brings you to the same place in BNI Connect. So let's take a look. What does this actually look like to a member? Let's step through that process. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me launch up BNI Connect here. And I'm going to sign in as one of my users that is coming up for renewal. So let me sign in. I'm going to sign in as my good friend QWERTY. And let me type in the password here. And QWERTY McQWERTY here is up for renewal. So he's got in. And he could have, as I said, either clicked on the link in either the emails or right here on the home screen, right there, it says Renew Now. So all I need to do is click on Renew Now, and I'll be brought to the application. I can choose whether I want a 1-year renewal or a 2-year renewal. And this is Antarctica, so the fees are a little bit different in Antarctica. This is just a test, but I can choose between a 1-year and 2-year. I then have to answer a couple of questions, and these are really the same questions that are on the paper form. Anything with a red asterisk must be answered in order to continue. I then have an opportunity to submit for changes on my profile. So for example, if my category is changing, I'm changing from language services to equipment repair. I can make those changes here. It will notify my membership committee that, hey, you need to have a discussion about this one. They are changing categories. It does need to be specially approved. When I'm all set with that, I can agree to the general policies and terms and conditions and then proceed to payment. Now, depending on your region, you may have different options for paying here. It could be by check or by credit card. Sometimes it may only be credit card, but however it is that your regional office accepts payment, you can follow through with that. In Antarctica, we ask you to please knock on the door and ask for Steve, and he will take your check. In some cases, you may be asked to submit a proof of payment as well. And then we just go ahead and click Submit. At this point in the process, it's done. That's it. That's all we have to do from a member perspective. Now the application has been submitted. They go back on with their daily lives, and again, anybody that's ever filled out a form online should be pretty straightforward to go through that process. So that's it from a member perspective. I'm going to log out as QWERTY here. And let's go back to that PowerPoint for a second. So here's what we have. We have the renewal process. So first step is the member completes the renewal application. The second step is the member chooses payment. And then the third step is that the notifications are sent. And there are a number of emails that keep everybody aware of what's happening in the process. All right, so here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like everybody to take their member hats off. And we are now going to put our leadership team hat on, most specifically the membership committee and the vice president. So there's some unique things about the online renewal process. And the first is that if you're using the online renewal process, you must also use the online approvals. In order for this application to flow properly, once it's been submitted, the VP or somebody from the membership committee needs to go and render the decision in BNI Connect. Now you can do either just a regular full approval. There's also the opportunity to give a conditional approval. Let's say that somebody is renewing under probation or something like that, or under a changed category. In different regions may process things slightly differently. There is the opportunity for both a pre-approval, a post-approval, or both. And finally, the applications from a regional office perspective, they cannot be reconciled until a payment has been put in and it has been approved. So Joel does have a question. If a member submits an application, is the payment processed right away? What happens if the member is not renewed? So Joel, yes, when the member is inputting the application and puts their payment in, it is immediately processed. So especially if they're using a credit card, it will take the money off of the credit card. If they are not renewed, then the regional office will issue them a refund. So, but it is there, we are asking them to make the commitment at the time that they are renewing, with the assumption that they will be renewed. So does that make sense, Joel? Does that help? All right, awesome. So let's take a look at how this process works. So as I said, there's a couple of different ways. There is a pre-approval process. Most regions allow both pre-approvals and post-approvals. What a pre-approval is means that the member hasn't submitted their application yet, but we're saying, you know what? Once this member does input their application, we are going to be approving them. So let's get this out of the way ahead of time and go ahead and pre-approve that membership. Now there's two opportunities to do a pre-approval. The first is an email is sent out on the 21st of each month. So the 21st of each month, an email is sent to the membership committee and to the leadership team and to the director consultant that says, hey, this group of people is up for renewal in the next 90 days. And that gives you a link to say, okay, I want to pre-approve this person, and that will take you to the pre-approval screen, and you can do it that way. The second way is there's a report in BNI Connect called the Membership Dues Report. The Membership Dues Report will, once online renewals is turned on, have a link on there as well that allows you to go through the roster and pre-approve those. So let's take a look at this pre-approval process real quick. So what I want to do here is I'm going to log in again to BNI Connect, but I want to log in as one of my leadership team people here. So let me log in as my, my vice president of the BNI chapter up in Antarctica. My vice president is Alfred E. Newman. So to get to the membership dues reports, we're going to go to the chapter reports. So I'm going to go to reports. And the third report down says membership dues report. I don't need to change the date on that. I'm just going to leave that exactly the way it is. And here we go. This is our list of people in our chapter that are up for renewal at various different times. So you can see we have a couple of people dropped. We have some people that are, we have QWERTY down here who is actually already pending renewal. But for everybody else, you'll see that I have a membership pre-approval here. So for example, let's say, I don't know, Marky Mark, for example, hasn't yet submitted his application because he's not pending. So I would like to go ahead and pre-approve him so that when he does submit his application, he is going to be all good to go. So if I click this pre-approval button, I'll get a, the member is Marky Mark here. From the BNI chapter, he's due on January 1st. I have a quick review of his 6 months performance. So I can see that he's been present to 8 meetings. He's given 2 referrals. Hasn't had any one-to-ones. Not doing great, but you know what? Let me check out his training details, and this will actually bring me, open up a new link to his profile so I can check out all the rest. And I can see that Marky Mark here hasn't taken any trainings. As a matter of fact, he hasn't even filled out his profile yet or his bio. Nobody's given him any testimonials. I don't know. Marky Mark's a little questionable here as to whether we're going to approve him. So, I mean, I can go ahead and issue a full approval or a conditional pre-approval. Note that you can't pre-decline somebody. Pre-declining somebody is essentially dropping them from the chapter. So we don't have a pre-decline, but we do have a pre-approval. So you know what? I'm going to give Marky Mark a second chance here. So I need to first certify that all necessary membership performance reviews have taken place. Once I do that, the option becomes available to pre-approve. I can also flag this as a conditional approval. Now, a conditional approval, we're not what we're doing is we're just putting a note on the membership's record saying this was a conditional approval. Whatever means you're doing to enforce those conditions, whether that's probation or whether they have to hit certain criteria, that's up to you and your membership committee to enforce. We are not going to enforce that through BNI Connect. All we're going to do is to flag the record that it was a conditional approval. You can also do the same. You can say, yes, we have sent some accountability letters if necessary. And then I can go ahead and click pre-approve. Now what happens when you pre-approve somebody is Marky Mark is going to get an email saying, hey Marky Mark, congratulations, you have just been pre-approved to extend your membership. So hopefully Marky Mark takes that as a positive sign, and he goes in and he proceeds on with that renewal. All right, so that is the pre-approval process. It's pretty straightforward. And you can pre-approve people as far in advance as you'd like to, but typically we're going to be doing that for people within the next 60 to 90 days. All right, so let me go back to this PowerPoint. So again, that was the pre-approval process. Let's take a look at the post-approval process. So what a post-approval process is, that member has already submitted an application, and now we just need to go in and say, yes, we approve, or no, we decline this renewal. So there's two opportunities to do that as well. The first opportunity is if the member, or when the member submits that renewal application, an email will be sent to the membership committee and to the leadership team saying, hey, congratulations, QWERTY has submitted a renewal application. Would you like to go ahead and approve that? There'll be a link that you can then click on to go and approve that transaction. Alternatively, if you deleted that email, you missed it, you ignored it, whatever it might be, you can go ahead and go to the View Pending Applications screen and check on the status of anything that's in pending. So let's take a look at this process. So I'm going to go back over to BNI Connect now, and I'm still logged in here as my Vice President, Alf, and we're going to go to the pending applications. Now the pending applications is going to be under the operations menu. So I'm going to go to operations, and this is the chapter level pending applications. So I go to manage memberships, view pending applications. So here I'm going to see all of the pending applications for my chapter, everybody that has submitted various new applications and renewals. Right now for the chapter, we only have one. QWERTY has submitted his renewal application. I can see that it was paid by check, what the application was, and how much it was for. I can see that it's been submitted, but I still need to approve it. So I'm just going to click this little red arrow, or I can even click the word submitted, and this will take me to the approval screen. It is important to know that the approval screen and the pre-approval screen are pretty much the same. The difference here is that I have an icon up here, this PDF file. If I'd like to retrieve a copy of the application, I can click this. And if the chapter wants to save that for themselves or print it out and put it in the leadership team box, they can. But this is where you can review all the answers to their questions. And again, you can save that file if you'd like to. I can still go and review the training details. You will notice that there's a big yellow line here. It says, hey, by the way, this member made some changes. They made some changes to their category, or whatever else they might have changed on there that requires further approval. Kindly note also that if somebody was pre-approved and they made those changes, they would also need to be post-approved. The rest of this is the same. I do need to certify that we have had our leadership team meetings. It is still 100% required and important to have your leadership team meetings. Then one person goes in, usually the vice president, but it could be really anybody from the membership committee, goes in and casts the decision. Please keep in mind we are not voting in BNI Connect, nor are we registering any votes. We are only registering the decision. So I can either approve or decline. I'm going to go ahead and approve Mr. QWERTY here. We can now see that he's approved, and we are good to go here. Now, when you do decline somebody, it does not kick them out of the chapter. Okay, it just declines their renewal. The person has every right to finish out the remainder of their term unless you're also dropping the person at the same time. So it also does not notify them. So if you do decline a membership, you still need to go through the membership committee process. You still need to produce a letter from the membership committee letting them know of that decision. All right, and that's really all there is to it. So just to review, let's take a look, and here's what happens during that process. The membership committee, they can receive an application. They're going to review that application. They're going to review the member performance. Then they're going to record the decision, whether it's an approval, a decline, or a conditional. And finally, the region will get notified, and they can go in and finalize the payment for the online applications. It is also important to know that if it is a decline or even an approve, the region does reserve the right to overturn that, or if it was even an accident, they can overturn an accidental decision as well. Let's see, Nancy has a question and says, is an email sent to all members of the membership committee and each member required to approve? In other words, does each member of the membership committee submit their vote? So there is no vote in BNI Connect. So what happens is they will all receive a notification saying that this person has input their application. They'll have links. They can go review the member. But you should 100% still be having a membership committee meeting, a face-to-face meeting to discuss renewals after your next meeting. We don't want to take away from the process of having verbal face-to-face discussions about the renewal members. So you still want to have that meeting after your meeting. After you've had that meeting, only one person, again, usually just the vice president, one person goes in and renders that decision. So again, we're not doing an electronic vote. We're doing an electronic registration of the decision. Does that make sense, Nancy? Nancy says, so does only the VP have the email with the button to approve? So the entire membership committee gets the email. As a matter of fact, tell you what, let me hold off on that question for just 1 second, because the very next slide is email notifications. So the email notifications, there are a bunch of different emails that go out to keep everybody kind of in tune with the process as things are happening. So before the renewal happens, there's a bunch of emails that could go out. The first is that the membership committee gets an email saying, hey, these people are up for renewal. Again, this is the one that happens on the 21st of each month and lists people that are due for the upcoming 90 days. That goes to the director consultant, the vice president, secretary treasurer, and membership committee. If a member renews, well, the member will also get their notification 60 days before they're up for renewal. Now, if a member gets that email and says, you know what, I actually don't want to renew, it will send an email out to the team saying, hey, guess what, this member just said they didn't want to renew. It does not kick them out of the chapter. They can still attend meetings, but to me, what that one is it's kind of that red flag, last chance to save this member email, so that you can be a little bit more proactive, knowing if somebody is deciding not to renew. And then finally, before a renewal, if you have done the pre-approval process, a member will get a notification letting them know of that result. All right, so during the online renewal, there's a number of emails that go out as well. Once it's been submitted, an email goes to the member saying, hey, here's a copy of your application and congratulations on submitting it. The member, if they had paid online, they would also get a copy of basically their invoice saying, hey, this has been completed, payment was successful. If they decided to send an offline payment, in other words, a check or something like that, then the regional office, the director, and the leadership team is notified saying, hey, this person just submitted an application. Please be on the lookout for a payment because they paid by check, for example. Once that application has been put in, the leadership team and director consultant also get a copy of that application, and this is the one that I believe that you're referring to, Nancy. The director consultant, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and membership committee, they all get that email. Now, the link to do the approval will be in all of the emails. It's the same email that goes to everybody. However, depending on the permissions that are set up in your region, generally speaking, what will happen is that when the vice president clicks on the link, they will see the button that allows them to approve. When the membership committee people click on that link, they'll see the training details and the history of the member, but they won't be given the option to approve. So hopefully that clarifies a little bit, Nancy. Awesome. All right, and again, if the member makes any important changes on their profile, such as changing their category or their company name, a separate email is sent saying, hey, red flag, this person has just changed their company. Be on the lookout for this, and if you approve it, that does need to be manually updated on the profile. Now, after the online renewal has been processed, we also have a number of emails that go out. If it's been approved and the payment, if the payment wasn't made at the time of submission, then they, after it's been approved, they will get another email. And there's also the approval and decline announcement. Now, I know that's a lot of emails with a bunch of different people. If you're not sure who's getting which emails, have a look at this list real quick and you can see who is getting which emails. For example, if you're the vice president, you are getting the most emails. You are getting pretty much stepped through the entire process to keep you in the loop. All right, so what I'd like to do is to open this up to any questions. Does anybody have any questions at all about the online renewal process and how this works? Be happy to answer those questions now. Of course, just a reminder, we are recording this as we record all of our webinars. You can get to our webinars. Let me show you how. So if you're in BNI Connect, from any screen in BNI Connect, you have this question mark in the upper right-hand corner. Click that question mark. That will take you over to our support site. And actually, let me get over there. There's our support site. On the support site, you'll see live and recorded webinars. Our upcoming webinars are listed on the left. Just click on that. You'll see all of our upcoming ones. Again, our very next webinar, we start our member series next week. A good referral for me is to please share these links with your members and to encourage them to attend. Over on the right-hand side, you'll see that we have our recorded webinars. We do have a copy of this particular webinar recorded already, but I will be uploading this one as soon as I can. But here's the online renewals that's recorded from October 20th. You're welcome to check out the link here. And if, somebody would like how do you download this PowerPoint? So let me tell you what, there is a section in this GoToWebinar software that says downloads, or it might say handouts. Give me 1 second here. And what I'm going to do is to put this PowerPoint in that handout. It's uploading now 100%. And Nancy, on the GoToWebinar software pullout there, you should see that, that handout. Let me know if you can grab that one. Let's see, Silvio says, if a member opts to submit a written application, can it still be processed the old way? So Sylvia, that one is going to be up to your regional office. So I can tell you that most regions for a transitional period will have both paper applications and online applications available while they transition over to the online method. I will tell you that the online method is a heck of a lot easier because it is so much easier to chase somebody to enter something electronically than it is to chase a piece of paper, because most of the time you can't get them a new application, or you can't get the application from them until the chapter meeting happens, right? So if you meet every Tuesday, if they didn't bring it this Tuesday, then more than likely you're not going to get that application from them until next Tuesday. And if they forget it again, now another week's going to go by before you get the application the following Tuesday. So now what should have been a 3-minute process drags into 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. And the same thing with the membership committee. Oh, well, the application's in my car, so I can't get the membership committee to sign off on the bottom of the application. So it just takes a very, very long time to process the paper, whereas this happens immediately. It's very quick to get through the process electronically. Does that make sense, Silvio? But as far as whether or not the paper, how long the paper ones will be available and things like that in your region, I would say to talk with your director consultant on that one. All right, let's see. Tracy says, how soon will this be available? Tracy, what region are you in here in the United States? We do have people on this call from all over the United States, and I think we even have a couple of people from, if I'm not mistaken, in Mexico as well as the UK. So Tracy, you're in Houston. What I would do is talk to your regional office, Houston East. That's I would talk to Mark. Yes, definitely. Talk to Mark Taylor and just say, hey, Mark, we're really interested in this process. We think it would help out. It's something that the executive director has to turn on. We have many, many regions in the United States and around the world that are already using this process. We have some regions I know that are just going to be starting to use it in the new year, and some that still aren't using it. So if Mark has any questions, by the way, please have Mark give me a call, and I'll be absolutely 100% happy to help him out and walk him through this process and even show him the executive director side of things from the regional office. Okay, Tracy? So Steve says, expired and dropped records must use the paper copy BNI application. So yes, if somebody has gone beyond their renewal date, so a couple of important points here. Let's say that somebody is due on January 1st. As of January 2nd, they'll be considered late. They can still process an online renewal up until the point that they are 15 days late. So it will carry automatically an irreversible $25 late fee. So that will be automatically added on. No opportunity to back that out through the application process. Once they've hit that 15th day past their renewal date, they can no longer log into BNI Connect, which means they can no longer process a renewal electronically. So they need to either submit a paper renewal or they need to talk to their regional office in order to get them back into the system. If they go beyond 45 days, they'll be completely dropped, and it requires an additional application fee as well. All right, so Steve, does that answer your comment / question? Joel says, Joel, two things. The new membership process is still paper. Yes, the new membership process is still paper. And Joel, I'm going to dance a little bit around this particular question about having to invoice new members for renewals. This is a very BNI Miami specific process, but to answer your question directly, no, you will not have to invoice for the renewals, because when they process their credit card, it will go directly into the regional office's merchant account. Okay, does that answer your question? And Jeff, feel free to pop in. I know you're on this webinar as well. If you feel that needs further explanation. So as far as chargebacks for online renewals, again, to be completely honest, most people that are applying online or that are just really applying for renewal kind of know whether they're going to get renewed or not. You know, it just doesn't happen that often that somebody gets blindsided with a decline. So yes, there will occasionally be, you have to do a refund because they're paying up front and then they get declined. But in my experience, those declines are very few and far between. Again, most people kind of know that they're going to get declined, so they don't bother putting in a renewal. The flip side to that is if you are in a region, you are in an area where you do have a lot of declines. Again, I haven't really seen one yet, but if you are in an area that has quite a lot of them, there is an option in the configuration of this from a regional office standpoint that allows you to say, we're going to wait to take payments until after the person has been fully approved. So what would happen is they submit their application, then they get approved. They'll get another email saying, okay, now you've been approved, please go ahead and pay. Now, that presents its own set of problems because now you're having to have the member do 2 transactions at 2 different periods. They may miss that second email, and now you find that you're chasing the money a lot more. But that is definitely, you have the ability to set it up that way. If you are concerned about that, the alternative that I would recommend is that you only allow pre-approvals. And that way, nobody can even go in and renew until they've been pre-approved. As Jeff further explained, the main corporate account will receive all online renewal payments, and the invoice of the chapter will simply justify that transaction. And yes, I guess Amex causes some issues with chargebacks. Again, that's something that we can kind of talk about. It's a very specific issue, but we can definitely talk about that one offline, as this is more of a kind of a leadership team level webinar. All right, what other questions do you have? Questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, compliments. Love to hear them all. As I said, this is being recorded. I'll make it available to you guys as soon as I can up on the support site. If you'd like to share this with your teams, I know BNI Miami, you're anxious to roll this out in January, so we can take this video, we can roll it out to your entire region and let your secretary treasurers know about this as well as the members. Or we can do another live one for your members if you'd like to. Same thing, Nancy, if you'd like to share this with Mark Taylor. Let's see. Jeff does have a couple other questions. How have members responded to this feature? I'll tell you, I mean, honestly, from a member perspective, if you just take the first like 45 seconds of this webinar, from a member perspective, it's like, duh, why haven't we been doing this the whole time? Because nobody fills out anything on paper anymore. We do everything online. We do everything, Amazon and, through credit card, and it just makes sense. So from a member perspective, it takes, getting hounded by the membership committee and the secretary treasurer and having to remember to carry a piece of paper around and having your checkbook, all that stuff, it takes it right out of the picture. So it makes it so much easier for the members. Really, the challenge is now making sure that they're paying when they put in their application, but also, that leadership team process. This means that, if the VP has never logged into BNI Connect before, they're going to have to log into BNI Connect quite a bit now. If the membership committee has been never logging into BNI Connect and looking at reports and things like that, they're going to have to learn how to go in and review a membership and things along those lines. So it does push people into the system a little bit more, and if they were not really used to using it. So Joel says, great webinar. Thank you so much, Joel. Nancy says, can you send out the summary of the late application information you shared? The summary of the late application. Sure, Nancy, why don't you do me a favor? Send me an email, please, support@bniconnect.com, and I can see if I can put that together for you. So, and Nancy, that's another thing that's kind of somewhat dependent on your region. The default is that one day you're late 15 days you're expired, and 45 days you're dropped completely in the system. However, there is flexibility in that. Different regions have it set up differently, both in the United States and around the world. So that is going to be slightly different in your region. So it would be best if you shoot me an email and I can tell you exactly how it is in your area. Cool, Nancy? support@bniconnect.com. support@bniconnect.com. All right. Any other questions? As I said, I love questions. This is what I do all day, every day. So happy to answer any questions that you might have. And thank you very much, Jeff. All right, so with that note, I'm going to give you guys back the rest of your afternoon. I look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. Just a reminder, a really good referral for me. Please help spread the word about these webinars. It's a great way, especially for new members, to learn various processes. We do have our member series, our last webinars of the year coming up over the next 2 weeks, where we're going to step through every single thing a member needs to know about BNI Connect in little tiny 30-minute increments over the course of the next 2 weeks. So please do share those. They're on all of your regional calendars, your event calendars, and on the support site as well. In the meantime, I wish you all a very happy rest of your week and a wonderful weekend. If I don't see you on one of these next webinars, happy holidays, and as always, happy connecting.